What's up guys, MikeCoco back here, bringing you guys a new video on the costumes of the month for July. This month we have 3 costumes, 1 mythic and 1 or 2 rather for regular heroes. So for the mythic hero we have a costume for Remy, and her skill doesn't change that much. The skill just changes from instead of a 1 turn immunity or 1 turn cleanse, it now turns into a 2 turn cleanse. As you can see here, it dispels debuffs on allies for 2 turns rather than the 1 turn on the non-costumed Remy. I don't know what you want to call it. She also gets a minute attack boost and physical and HP, but it doesn't really matter because Remy's most important skill is her skill, or attribute rather, is her skill, not the damage she can do. Damage, you should save that for other heroes. So I would definitely grab Remy because I don't think there's a hero right now that has a 2 turn immunity. I don't think, yeah. The only thing that comes closest are those white rings and maybe Guinevere's skill, but Guinevere's skill also removes buffs as well as debuffs. So it's kind of like, you know, you don't really lose much, but you also don't gain anything either, so it's kind of useless. Um, so yeah, for Remy, I would definitely get her costume if you have her. Otherwise, for the free players, we have Pokey's costume and Nicki's costume. So Pokey's costume is actually very unique. It increases the lower bound of cannon heroes damage by 150%. So as you guys all know, cannon users have very abysmal lower bound damage. Their damage at the lower end is very poor. Just to give an example, we have Cromwell, who's at like not even at 30k attack, at level 70, and with a rag cannon, and Jeanette, who's 10 levels lower, has 86k attack for their lower bound. And although she is using an arrow weapon, but even then, 30k is absolutely abysmal. Can you imagine hitting that in like Mythic Raid or Infinite Battle? It's like nothing. It's like a tiny scratch. So the fact that their lower bound is very low, it really hurts when you see those low numbers. And the fact that Pokey's costume can help someone mitigate that is really cool, because it means that rather than hitting 30Ks, you might be able to hit like 45k, maybe 50k. And the advantage to cannon heroes is that they get better as you level them up, because as you level them up, their lower bound and upper bound both increase. But when the lower bound increases, you're not hitting super low numbers anymore. The lower bound is probably still less than other hero types like swords or magic or gun, but it's at least respectable damage, and instead of like 30k damage from Cromwell. So I think Poke skill is very useful, especially if you have a lot of cannon users. In my mind, there are actually a few cannon users that you can use right now that are actually viable in competitive modes. So we have, let's see, we have Pokey, who's one of them. You obviously need her for the costume. We also have, let's see, I actually have a lot of heroes right now. We have Hiruk, which is still, in my opinion, one of the best Fury thieves, because of the Fury drawn per target. Cromwell is also very good. Alice is debatably good. Her skill is only very good for the stun, and since a lot of the bosses are now stun immune, it doesn't really matter that much, but her damage is not that bad. We also have Prame, whatever. Her skill is actually very good, so I can totally see Prame, Cromwell, and Pokey, and possibly Hiruk to cover your cannon users, and maybe even Vanessa, although Vanessa's skill is not that great. Kid Vanessa's skill is it's not that great, but those are 3 heroes that I think are very viable in competitive play. And obviously the 150% minimum damage buff is actually quite good. So if you're planning to run those heroes, or if you're already running those heroes, I would suggest getting Pokey. Otherwise, don't really get her, because having just one hero benefit from this costume slash skill is not that useful. You want your entire team to be able to take advantage of this effect. So if you only have like maybe 1 or 2 cannon users, I would skip this costume and rather go on Nikki. Now Nikki's costume is a as you can see, they're 20%. Actually, I want to see how much Pokey's was. I didn't notice. Alright, so Pokey's also 20%, which is very good. Nikki's costume is a 20% for everything, and she turns from a cat into, what is she holding? A cat holding like cat spear thing, dagger. I don't know. So her skill remains relatively unchanged. It's still a row Fury Steel. However, the next hit is a guaranteed critical, which is very powerful. Um, Nikki already hits very hard. I think out of like as of now, I think she's at least top 10 in strength, if I remember correctly. I think her and Yukio maybe are top 10 in strength or in at Legendary EX 100, of course. So the fact that you get a 100% critical is very powerful. Um, like the critical itself is just very powerful, and Nikki also has additional effects that are not really named in the skill itself because she's a Fury Stealer, so that means she'll draw a lot of aggro, and the costume allows her to not only deal more damage but to draw more aggro in a sense. With the additional HP and defense, she will be able to survive longer, which means that she can draw aggro for a bit longer than normal, compared to a non-costume Nikki. And overall, I think Nikki would be the choice if you don't have Remy or if you're not running a lot of cannon users. Because the critical is just very powerful. It will boost your damage quite a bit, and because she's a Fury Stealer, she's gonna have her skill always on anyway. And so the fact that it's a guaranteed crit on the next turn means that she will crit every single turn. She just needs that one turn startup, and every single turn she will crit because she's a Fury Stealer. You would obviously have her skill go as often as possible, if not always. Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend getting Nikki's costume. The way I would prioritize it would be Remy, and then depending on your team, Nikki or Pokey. Pokey's skill is very unique, so if you're running a lot of cannon users, you should definitely get Pokey, because Nikki's skill, while very good, is not very unique, and it doesn't benefit the entire team. It's just a crit buff for herself. Um, and in some ways, it can be lackluster because it's just a crit buff, but if you don't have a team full of cannon users already, then there really is no point in getting Pokey, and so you're stuck with Nikki anyway. And you might as well get Nikki. So basically, Remy and then Nikki / Pokey, depending on your team. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So of course I'll be getting Nikki because I don't run that many cannon users, and I only have like one that's legendary, or two if you count Vanessa, I think. Yeah, so no point in me getting Pokey. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Peace.